Hi, it's Jeremy Long, and this is my Internet Use Violations case study for EDL 850 School Law. Beginning with our problem identification and analysis. Here's what we know about this case. First off, some background information. Slattery-Steno High School is a prestigious school in a affluent area, and the principal, Dr. Smith, is well established and respected. Our teacher, Miss Tate, is a second-year teacher, so she's pretty young and inexperienced. First off, let's talk about this situation. The teacher, Dr. Smith, has received numerous calls about Miss Tate's difficult class, and he's worked with her on the issue. However, Miss Tate has not made changes to her methods or curriculum. A Facebook page was created that strongly and inappropriately criticizes Miss Tate. So, what else do we know? Miss Tate believes that the page is a serious threat on her life, while Dr. Smith believes that the page is probably a prank. Ms. Tate assumes that her student, William Hall, made the page, and she considers William Hall as fairly computer savvy and a likely suspect for this particular event. Dr. Smith has made a plan to meet with Ms. Tate in the morning, and one thing I found interesting from the case study was that at the end of their conversation, Ms. Tate says she plans to drive back to her parents' house. Well, it says earlier in the study that that's a 3-hour drive. As an administrator, if my teacher told me that, I would probably recommend that she did not come to school the next day. She was going to drive all the way back to her parents' house. It's a 3-hour trip back to our building. That would probably be a good idea to tell her to just go ahead and take the next day off with the pending situation. It's probably best. So, what do I need to know? School policies and procedures related to the event. That's probably important, including the internet usage policy, the verbal abuse or threat policy. How do those look for our school? What does our board policy say? As an administrator, I may have a pretty good idea of those already. Probably better pull them out of file and get paper copy and know what and that way they're at my disposal as if I need them as we go through this process. We need to know who created the Facebook page. We don't know that. Was it done using school computers or technology? Was it done during school time? We don't think so, according to the case study saying it was a long weekend. But how do we know that the Facebook page hasn't been around for months? Can we find out through means other than students? Can our district technology guy find out who created the page, who sent the email? We're going to have to interview students, we know that, but there may be some other methods for us to find out. We need to know the specifics regarding the interaction of William Hall and Miss Tate. She states that he's continually being disruptive in her class, but she can't prove it. Which students or families have made complaints about Miss Tate? We don't even know if it was William Hall that had made these complaints or his parents. And we need to know laws related to internet-based threats, or any threats for that matter. Should Miss Tate contact law enforcement? Well, I believe yes, she should. So, continuing on, we need to identify the problem. The problem is that Miss Tate has been threatened and disrespected, most likely by one of our students, but the persons responsible are unknown at this time. There's no solid evidence as to a motive. However, it's likely related to the past issues in Miss Tate's class. A situation involving a teacher in our school, multiple students and parents, probably, and an administrator has been highly escalated by the creation of a social media page that involves some pretty troubling stuff, including a threat. So that's our problem. We need a plan of action to fix the problem. We need to gather resources and make necessary contacts. So I'm going to review board policies and our student handbook as stated before. I'm going to gather all records from the Miss Tate student-parent situation, the one that has been around for a while now. We need to contact our district superintendent to inform he or she of the problem and probably seek some advice and some collaboration just to know that we're all on the same, our administration's all on the same page on this deal. We need to contact our district technology manager to discuss our options, and if possible, we're going to identify the sender or source of the email. If possible, maybe there's the fact that students have posted on this page under their real names. Now, I would assume that the kids were smarter than that in this case, but it may not be, so we need to check those things out. continuing with our plan of action, we need to meet with Miss Tate, and that was stated in the case study that was already set up. We need to discuss the situation with Miss Tate. I'm going to obtain more specific information about William Hall and how she views this situation. Discuss the possible suspect list because we do not want to single out William Hall. We are also going to recommend to her, I'm going to recommend that she contacts law enforcement. We're going to advise her not to discuss the situation with students or staff until more information is gathered. We cannot jump to conclusions on William Hall. We don't have any evidence. We also will further escalate the situation if we make it known that, number one, the page has been created, and number two, teachers and administrators know about it. This could cause further problems in the school on the day that we are doing interviews or whatever it may be. So right now, it needs to stay confidential. Yeah, some students most likely know about this page, but do we want them to know that everyone knows? I would tend to say no in this situation. Also, meeting with students. So strategically, we're going to choose students to interview regarding this Facebook page. We're going to base our list on our discussions with Miss Tate and her class rosters. We're going to use language such as when we interview students. An email, hey, an email was sent to a teacher that had a link to a very threatening and disrespectful Facebook page. Our tech manager is looking into who made the site now. Do you know anything about this? Most schools have a policy in which students cannot directly lie to school staff, administrators, and we can also use this as a little bit of a helpful tool in hopefully getting someone to tell us where the page originated, who made it. That's our plan at this point in time. I don't think we should involve Miss Tate in the interviews. In the original case study, the principal says, hey, we need to get William Hall in and we need to talk to him. You and me need to talk to him about this. Well, I could see that as a potential issue when William Hall informs his parents of this. We've jumped to conclusions in that case, and we don't want to do that. So, strategies for implementation. I will observe procedural due process in discovering the individuals responsible for the Facebook page. All of this comes right out of our text, Essex. We don't want to make unsubstantiated claims. I'm going to respect FERPA and avoid a situation in which claims of defamation or malice could be made against our school. I'm going to seek legal counsel and advice on the school's options regarding disciplinary measures for those students who are involved, and this is going to include collaboration with law enforcement, most likely. Also, I'm going to make appropriate contact with the parents of all students found to be involved with the Facebook page, and I will seek input from the superintendent and the administration of our district throughout the process. Okay, resolving the problem promotes success. We want to be concerned with the personal and academic well-being of every student. So steps for resolution. First off, as stated before, we're going to identify our students responsible for the Facebook page. We're going to meet with or contact their parents and administer disciplinary action. That's going to happen. We're going to work with Ms. Tate to develop a time-based improvement plan for her courses and her teaching strategies. We need to improve the environment for learning and reduce unnecessary student stress in her classroom. We are going to also, I would like to implement a digital citizenship program for our school. Probably already have one. Maybe we need to take a look at it and see what we need to do with it. Also, we're going to have a plan of action that is designed to benefit all students. So right now, there's a chain reaction of events with strong feelings of resentment in our school. Students can benefit from learning the seriousness and permanency of inappropriate online activities through this event. Hopefully the students involved can learn this. High school is a place for learning. Mistakes can be made. This one's pretty serious, or it could be considered pretty serious. Students and families will lose trust in our school, though, pretty quickly if we place blame on a student without credible proof. So this is another action. Observing proper procedures and adhering to laws is going to maintain a safe environment for learning in our school. And we've already talked about how our families are fairly financially secure. They have the resources to pursue legal action, and just because they are from an affluent area, I'm not saying that's just mutually exclusive for them. If I was in a less well-to-do area, I would still use the same practices. Now, Debriefing the problem. My thoughts on this. It's all too common of a scenario. In fact, we just had a similar event like this in my school. It's ongoing right now, actually. In this day and age, we can't assume that threats are just simple pranks. Originally, the principal does this, and I don't think it should be taken lightly. Miss Tate should be viewed as a valued staff member. Yeah, has she struggled in her classroom? That's true. But she's a second-year teacher. She might be overwhelmed. She needs support, and we need to give it to her and value her. My feelings, I'm concerned that there's going to be some difficulty in dealing with parents. They may be quick to place blame on Miss Tate because we've already seen it, and claim that the page is just a harmless joke. And this is actually something that I'm sure most administrators and teachers could agree with. I'm also concerned about my plan of action if the persons responsible cannot be identified in a timely manner. It might take us a while to find out who's done this, so that it could lag on. And I'm also worried that Miss Tate will leave the district. We need quality teachers. Seems like Miss Tate is a quality teacher. She just needs some direction. And for me, in a rural school scenario, if we have somebody who's committed to education and wants a structured classroom, we need to keep that person on our staff. Okay. Things to value. School policies and laws are in place to help deal with this issue. So as an administrator, I'm going to follow these policies in the most sensible manner. If the page had not included a threat, then it may have been difficult for us to discipline students, so I kind of value that in a way. I mean, I don't like that it was a threat. However, if it was just a joking, pretty distasteful joking page, there might not have been much we could do, especially if we could not prove who did it. And Miss Tate is committed to a well-managed classroom, as I said before. So I think that's a good, valuable thing. Unresolved issues. There's a possibility that the persons responsible for this may not be caught. Is this an isolated incident? We don't know. There may be other pages out there right now. Miss Tate's improvement as a teacher and the return of the involved students to her classroom could be a pretty difficult issue, and ongoing legal ramifications that could involve students in the district and our teachers, whatever it may be. We don't know what the future holds there. Now, for integrity, as a teacher or as an administrator, managing the situation in an appropriate and timely manner and reviewing policy and collaborating with others points towards integrity. Upholding the school policy to maintain a safe environment for learning throughout this case, and implementing a plan for Miss Tate's improvement, or all things that could point towards integrity. When it comes to fairness in this situation, I'm going to ensure that solid evidence is gathered prior to jumping to conclusions regarding who made the Facebook page. I'm going to give proper consequences to the students responsible. I'm going to work with Miss Tate to lower classroom stress for her students and in fairness to all. Ethically, or ethics as promoting student success is concerned, I'm going to maintain confidentiality when necessary and observing FERPA. It's going to be important. Ensuring that due process is followed once again, and supporting Miss Tate and respecting her privacy. The failure to do so could result in a very negative situation for her students in her classroom, and there's some scenarios like this stated in Essex. So this really covers the entire case study for EDL 850. I hope you've enjoyed it. I used Essex as a reference in our textbook, and I enjoyed the case study. Have a good weekend.